So here we are for the most difficult part of this masterclass conversation. The most difficult but the most rewarding at the same time. This is going to require some work, a lot of work from your part, because humor is actually one of the most creative acts that can be made when it comes to conversation. So yeah, we will have to work. But actually, it's easy. It's very easy to make something funny, even hilarious. The process is very easy. What is difficult is to create, to get creative, to apply it. Let's jump into it. You will see. Remember in the first module, wholes and parts. Remember that. You remember? Right. We will do the same. If we want to make something funny. Okay, let's explain how something funny works. Something funny, not that you create, but something that just happened. What makes something funny? What creates laugh? Let's make a sketch about it. Here we have, let's say, a huge hole. It would be, for example, an entire scene where something happens. This is a hole. So, for example, this room, this is a hole. It could be seen as an element from the city, or from the entire house. Let's consider this as the hole, where the funny thing takes place. In this hole, there is a lot of rules, there is a lot of elements that are supposed to be in a way. What it means that they are supposed to be in a way? What it means is that our mind thinks they are in this way. This is what the links of causality of every element should be like. For example, if I push the mic in this direction, he is going to go in this direction. The MacBook right here, unless something happens, it's not supposed to close itself. The light is not supposed to move like this. The links of causality, they are in a way. Me, not supposed to have a third arm that appears out of nowhere, right? So there is all those elements that are set. They are expected to be in a way from our minds. Our minds expect the elements to be a certain way. Now, if we want to create humor, if we want to create fun, let's not create it. Let's just make something fun happen, as if it just happened for real, and it makes you laugh. It would be proper to an element or a set of elements happening to be different from what your mind think it should be. So, for example, let's draw a set of things here with elements inside, up. Great. For example, let's say, I don't know, let's say I have a beard. That's one of the elements. Or let's say there is a table here. Let's say, for example, this thing, this cup. So there is an element and it has properties. It's white, it has this shape, it has a weight, it is supposed to be used in some ways for a certain kind of purpose. We could even take elements which are more abstract. For example, the fact that I am making a video. This is more abstract. It's not an object, it's more abstract. For example, the fact that we are in December, in the moment I'm shooting this. Now, this is December. Yeah, so we can take any element, even abstract. But let's take, for example, this one. So this is the set of elements that we have drawn on the sketch with the little dots inside, which are the properties. For example, the functionality, what I'm supposed to do with it. Like this. Now, if I want to make something funny happen with this set of elements, with this cup. I will have to make one of these elements different from what my mind think it is, from what my mind think it should be. For example, the way it has to be used. Let's say that now, for example, you're looking the video and I don't use it the same way. For example, I'm not gonna do it, but let's say it already makes me laugh. Let's say I turn it the other way and I drink it from here, like this. And so there is all the coffee that's split here. And yeah, I just keep talking normally and I keep going as if it was totally normal. I skipped some steps. I'm going to explain everything. I don't know if it makes you laugh, but me, it already makes me laugh. The more we go into this process, the more we make it happen, the more it will tend to be a form of humor that makes everybody laugh. At the end, it's so hilarious that just everybody laugh, no matter what. That's just how it is. Here, there is not so much elements that we are changing, so it makes me laugh, maybe you a little bit, maybe not so much, but the goal here is to go to a level of humor, which is so hilarious that you cry. You even cry. You can't help it. You're all red and you cry so much you laugh. That's where we want to go. But I skipped some steps. I added things. I added the coffee dropping, me keeping going as if nothing happened. I added steps. Let's explain them. I just changed something, the way it is supposed to be used. So like this, I said, okay, now I do it the other way. And I drink it like this. I just changed one thing in the way it's supposed to be used. Another example might be, for example, if I just put it on my front and I do like this and I drink like this. Then I go back like, and the thing draws on my face. That's another way to change the way it's supposed to be used. If you have no idea, go even more precise in the elements. So the elements in the set of elements that we take is the functionality. Let's be even more precise in the functionality. Let's take elements of the functionality, the way it is supposed to be used. So it's supposed to be drawn to the mouth with a hand. So for example, I can change this. I will do the same, but by changing the fact that it's done with the hand. I will do it with this, or just I will do it like this, up with my mouth and go up like a dog, like this. However, I changed the way it's supposed to be used. I changed an element. Another thing in the way it's supposed to be used. So to the mouth, yeah, I changed to here, the front head, or to the eye, or the ear, or I don't know, however, whatever, or what else can I change the way it's supposed to be used? Yeah, imagine I just put it here and I keep talking like normal. Like I take my hands out, it's going to fall, so I'm not going to do it. Just keep talking as if everything was normal. This one as well is funny, I think. So we change how it is supposed to be used. We change elements. Other elements in this set of elements, other than the functionality, would be, for example, the fact that it is looks like an era. I just noticed this. We're going to play with this kind of thing, like change it into an ER and make something fun about this. But yeah, what can we change? For example, the fact that it is made of ceramic. We can change that. For example, let's say that instead of being in ceramic, it is made in I don't know. It is made in what could it be made in? Yeah, I have no creative idea that come, but let's just do the exercise. Change it into something else. It is made in a tissue. With a tissue. This is a tissue. Now imagine what it would look like if you watch at the scene, and out of a sudden I bring my coffee and it's in a tissue. There's the coffee in a tissue, and I drink my coffee in a tissue, and it's pouring out of the tissue, and yeah, it's not working. It's coffee in the tissue. And I just put it back and I keep going on the video. There is some elements of fun in this as well. Now, if we want to make it funny enough to provoke laughter and hilarious laughter, we have to go through the next step. But this is the beginning. So you see the beginning of the pattern here. we have all the sets of elements. We change one set of elements, one element or multiple. We change one thing. The fun happens when we don't connect the actual reality with the new reality that we are creating. This is as if your mind has created a map of how reality is. This is true. Your mind has created a map of how reality is. Now, some elements are different from the map that you have in your head. So your mind have to make the link between those two realities. What happened? How do they connect? And the fun happens when we don't connect them. When we make both of those reality happen simultaneously at the same time, without bridging them, without making a bridge, without connecting them. So this is another reality I have. This is not supposed to happen this way. But I don't connect this new event with the actual reality. I just keep going as if nothing changed. It's as if we bring a new reality in the reality that we are hoping for, and we just let it be without connecting it. We just let them overlap. This is where the fun gets created. Now, what is it that makes it a little fun or very fun or hilarious? This is the number of overlapping reality in the same scene. This is the number of them happening. For example, when we talked about, putting it in the other sense, this is a first contradiction to put it on the other sense, right? This is a first. This is the first thing that is not the way it is supposed to be. There is a second thing happening after that. The coffee gets on me. Here is another thing that is not how it's supposed to happen. And this one is huge. We're going to talk about it later. This is the contradiction with the fact that as human beings, we tend to have an ego. We tend to want to look in a good light, to appear in a good light. I don't appear in a good light here. I should not be looking for this kind of thing. This is a second contradiction. This is a second thing that doesn't happen as a thing what should happen. Third thing that is not normal. This is the fact that I don't react to the fact that it's not normal. Fourth thing that is not normal, that I don't react to the fact that I got coffee on myself. Fourth thing. And actually, let's go a bit deeper and more complex. Now, why does the fun come from the act of not reacting to what's happening? Actually, it's not necessary for something funny to happen. It's just a tool. In the same way that, for example, making people look stupid is a tool as well. There is some tools that come over and over and over again when it comes to creating fun or making funny situations, because they are very easy to use. They are easy to use, and so it would be stupid to not use them. The level of humor of a situation of something is proportional to the number of units that are being different from what it's supposed to be. Let me explain. When something is not the way it's supposed to be, that's one unit of difference. Then the fact that the other thing stay as they are, as if it was not different, it adds a second unit of thing being different from what it should be. It's like a meta. It's like a meta difference. And this is why we always use this when we want to create humoristic situation, because every time you change something, you have like a bonus. You can use a bonus. You can make time 2 easily by this tool, by just making the other thing being the way they would be if it was not changed. It's like a trick, a cheat code. Something is different, boom, you can make time 2 by using this technique. Okay? Now, why I'm saying the number of unit of thing that are different and not the number of things that are different. Because let's think about if I have a pair of shoes. I have my pair of shoes on the table here. It's not normal. This is not how things are supposed to be. This is the first difference. Now imagine that I have I don't know, I have an underwear. I have my socks here on the table as well. This also is not as it is supposed to be, right? But this is in the same unit of difference. If you have your shoes on the table, it implies that many things are different from what is expected. Not just the place of the shoes, but as well maybe the social norms, the fact that dirty thing can be put on the table. It changes a lot of those things as well. And so now, within those things being different, the socks on the table, it is among them. It is among those difference. So it actually doesn't add any difference now, because this difference has already been made. There is already this difference. So now we should stack a third reality. There is the first reality. We stack a second one with the pair of shoes. But the socks on the table, they are contained in this second reality now. So it doesn't add a third reality. And the fun happens when we stack up many layers of different reality. When we stack them up, now the more we stack up, the more hilarious it is. That's how it works. And a really good humor is actually about one thing that implies 20 layers of reality compounded difference. This is the most hilarious thing. And this is where come some techniques that everybody use. For example, personalizing things. Like, for example, personalizing the cup. For example, I will take the cup to my mouth, and you can imagine eyes and a mouth on the cup being like, no, like I'm going to drink it, and it's like, no. For example, something like this. It's a technique to make it a character. Because through this, you can stack up many different layers of reality, making things look stupid. For example, the same thing. There is this guy on the cup. I drink his brain, and he's like he starts doing something stupid, which makes him look ridiculous. It stacks up levels of reality, and there is then some tools that come back again and again. For example, insults. Things related to sex, basically things that are not politically correct, or things that are not in the social norms. For example, farting, dumping a shit on the table, for example. This stacks up many different realities in one thing. This is why those tools, they come back again and again when we want to make fun, to create a funny situation. And one of those tools is actually the time too. Every time something is different, let's use the magic bonus. Make the other things be normal, as if it was normal, I mean. So yeah, what actually creates the level of fun is how many layers of overlapping realities are happening simultaneously. So there is the reality from your mind that exists. Then above that, there is a set of elements which is different, and which then implies an entire new reality where these things can happen, can be this way. Then there can be as many new elements that are not supposed to be like in the actual reality. But if they are supposed to be this way in this new reality, then it doesn't add any fun, because it's still in this new reality. We will need to have a new thing that is different from both of those two realities. In those two realities, and it's like in mathematics, when you create a space, like in geometry, you have one axis, like this. You can only create points on this. Then you add a new one, like this. Now you have a whole surface, like this. where things can happen. Now, if you want to have a new dimension, and each of those dimensions, the new dimension is not inside any of the two first dimensions. It's a new dimension, right? It has to be new dimensions. Here is the same. Every time there is something different, once again, it has to not be contained in any of the previous stacked up realities, so that it adds a new dimension, a new level, a new entire reality. And the more there is different realities happening at the same time, the more this will create humor. And actually, I really believe this is linked to spiritual thing. Buddha, they're very enlightened spiritual teachers. It's known that at this level they laugh all the time. The Dalai Lama, he's laughing all the time. The big Buddha, he was laughing all the time. There is all of those teachings about the fact that at the highest level of spiritual enlightenment, you just laugh all the time. This is the only thing you do. You just laugh all the time. I really think this is linked. This is about the transcendence of the ego. What is the ego? This is the rigid structure of the mind. This is where it comes from. The mind creating a map of reality which is rigid, which is in a way and not in another way. Here is where lies the ego. When you break this by having new different realities that are not contained inside, that contradict, happening all at the same time, it slices up the ego. It transcends the ego, the rigidity of this map in the brain. And so it transcends the ego. So this is why at the end, transcending the ego and laughing all the time is the same. It looks like it's the same. So yeah, just as a side note, maybe it will help you to see a bit better how this stacking of reality, what it's about. And so now we have the act of creating humor by ourselves, not just seeing something that happens in reality and that is fun. That just happens. Sometimes you walk on the street, you see someone crushing himself on the floor, I don't know, in some way that's ridiculous, and it's hilarious. You just can't help but laugh. This is something that really happens. It really happened. But most of the time, when we are funny, when we create humor, we talked about things that this is not happening. We just create them in our minds and we share them with others. We make jokes, right? How does it work? The imaginary is not as powerful as what's happening for real, but for the brain, it creates the same thing. This is like a less powerful reality, but it still has the same impact on our internal self. For example, you're thinking about situations which are very bad. You can start to feel depressed. You think you only have thought about good thing. You feel very happy. You think about something sexual happening with an attractive partner. You get aroused. It doesn't happen for real. It's in the mind, but it has the same effect. Humor works the same way. If we imagine, if we think about situation where realities stack up together, if we think about it, it will make us laugh as well. Not as much as if it happens in reality, not as much, but still way enough to be interesting to use. And so what happens when we make humor with people? Basically, we are talking about things, we are creating situations with the other person where there is those layers of reality that overlap together. Many dimensions. I would say that it starts to be funny around four different things. Starting with 4 reality overlapping. It starts to generate a bit of laughter. 5, it gets really funny. 6, it's really funny. 7, it starts to be hilarious. 10, you cry. 10, you cry. Really, it's very mathematical when we think about it. But when we talk about someone, there is other dimensions that we can use, and that makes it very interesting to have fun with other people. This is that first, you can talk about things where there is this overlapping realities happening. But at the same time, you can as well play with you talking. You are part of what you're talking about. So sometimes, for example, someone will talk about something that is actually funny because there is overlapping realities. But as well, the fact there is like a meta thing, there is a meta new reality. The fact that he says it in the way he says it, or he himself talking about it, adds a level of overlapping reality to it. For example, he will, instead of just talking about the scene, he will, for example, talk about it as if it was not supposed to be funny, for example. So it adds even one more layer of overlapping reality. Or for example, before I said it looks like an ear. If I just say, it looks like an ear, it creates in your mind this scene where the cup has an ear instead of this. There is one overlapping reality. Instead of just saying, it looks like an ear, if I say, why does my cup have an ear? Now the fact in itself that I say this in this way, it adds one more layer. I become part of the layers. Or, well, I didn't know cups had ears in this country. It adds one layer of overlapping reality. The element that is being changed is that I'm saying it as if there actually was an ear, whether it's not the case. When I say, hey, it looks like an ear, this is true. This is the real reality. So the only new layer is this reality where there is an ear instead of this. But now if I talk about it as if there is actually really a real ear, now this is not part of how this reality should be like, because it looks like an ear, but this is not a real one. So I should not say that, I should not talk about it as if it was actually an ear. So this is one more level of something being changed. And now it gets tricky, because you could say, oh yes, but Alex, if you do that, now the picture, the imaginary scene where there is actually an ear instead of this, now it becomes part of this first reality that is already overlapping. This first reality was generated by the change in the element, which is that there is actually not a real ear. But now there is this different reality overlapping. And in this reality, where there would actually be an ear, there is the ear already. So it doesn't add to reality. Yes, this is true. And this is why here, this is not what creates two different realities. What creates the second reality is not this. This is something else. This is the fact that in this new reality that just stacked up, where there is an ear instead of this, in this reality, if this is the only thing that has been changed, I should freak out actually. There is an ear on my cup. I should freak out. I'm reacting as if it's the case, but as if this is not that much abnormal. This is not as abnormal as it should be in the real reality. Now this adds a second layer. Okay, so let's start noting the routines, the techniques that come over and over again that people use just naturally because it's easy, and why not use them? So I will say one change, one set of things that is different. Use the time 2 bonuses. So there is keeping everything else as if there was no change, or as if there was a change, but here we do a meta change, which doesn't imply the other elements to be exactly in the way they should be in reaction to this first way. For example, saying, why is there an ear on my cup? There is this first thing that is changed. The fact that there is an ear here that you can create, this situation in your mind. The second thing, me as part of the element, I react to it as if actually there was a change. But I don't react to this change the way that I am actually expected to react to it. If there was actually an ear, I would not react this way. Oh, why is there an ear on my cup? I should freak out. I should run out of my house. So this is the two ways to use the 2 times bonus every time there is a change. You will train on this later, don't worry. Now, as a side comment, if we want to create something imaginary like this, why do we need to start off with something that is at least at a minimum close to this imaginary reality? For example, if there was not this thing, and I talk about this, why is there an ear on my cup? Here it doesn't make sense because it's just way too imaginary. We can't really picture it as real, as if we have an indicator like this. If it's purely imaginary, it's way more difficult to draw the humor from it. Remember, imaginary it makes you laugh, but not as much as a real thing. If you can combine it with things that are actually almost happening, that are almost this way in reality, it helps. It makes it easier to be able to imagine it. So this is why we will always use those kind of opportunities. Everybody use it. So this will be the second trick that we have. Start off from things that look like the imaginary scene you're thinking about. Create your imaginary scene from things that at least look like a minimum to this. And to make it a bit more formal, it will be about having common elements. For example, here, the common element is shape. This has the same shape than an ear. So if I draw this imaginary scene of here being an ear, there is common elements between the thing is the reality and the thing that I change it with. So it's easier. The more common elements there is, so the more it looks like, the more powerful it is. For example, I remember one of my friends who at a conference talked about a time when he made a joke. He was approaching a woman and he saw a man looking like Harry Potter. And he told her, hey, doesn't he look like Harry Potter? And it made them explode in laughter. Because it was actually very close to reality. There was a lot of commonalities. There really was a lot of elements in common to the imaginary thing. So it's way easier to draw the humor from it, to draw the emotions from it. Because remember, imaginary is not as powerful as if things happen in real life. But the more it is close to what's going on in real life, the easier it will be to picture the thing. And so to take laughter from it. And so basically after this, he stacked it up, I remember, by saying, but more fat. And so it made them laugh even more. Because now he stacked up with one of the tools, the other tools we have, which is going against the ego. So situation where human beings are looking stupid or any kind of thing that goes against the ego, especially looking great, being shown in a great light. And here from this one we draw as well the trick that everybody uses as well which is personalizing objects or animals. Personalizing objects, animals, or actually anything. Giving it emotions, giving it thoughts, giving them a psyche actually, so that just so that we can make them look stupid, so that we can make them look stupid. Yeah, just so that we can apply to them this trick of going against the ego, making it look stupid. We also have things that go against the social norms, such as, for example, insults. This one is fun. Insults. You look at animes, things on Netflix like Rick and Morty, for example. Insults all the time. Why? It goes against the social norms. This is an overlapping reality. It's not normal to insult so much. It's not supposed to be this way. Insult, sexual things. Yeah, making joke about dicks and dicks and things like this. Dirty things. Yeah, talking about shit and those kind of dirty things. It goes against what things should be like in the social norms, once again. And as a bonus, we have basically the private jokes. Private jokes. This is basically when you found something extremely hilarious with a friend, with someone, and then you will use it again and again and again in new situation. You will explore new situation where you can use it. This becomes this is what we call private jokes, basically. At the higher level, this is things that make you laugh again and again and again, so you use it all the time after this. Other things. Using yourself, making the joke or the funny thing as a supplementary layer, so that you don't even have to talk about it. Just shows off this new layer by the way you're doing it, by the way you're talking about it. And the last one to finish, and the one you're going to work on, is stacking jokes, stacking funny scenes. You will notice when something funny happens, when someone makes a joke, it's not in one try. There is one first thing that is kind of funny, then it stacks up with a new thing which is even more funny, and then it stacks up, and the more it stacks, the more funny it is, unless he makes an error, he makes a mistake. For example, let's go back to the cup with the ear. Let's make it actually funny. Let's try. It's a bit weird, but this is the exercises. When you will do the exercises and train for yourself, most of the things you will create are not really going to be funny because you're training the skill. So you're being formal about it. You're doing it in a logical way. So most of the time it's not going to be fun, but we have to try. That's how we train. So I don't think I'm going to succeed to make it funny, but let's just apply the techniques. Let's try. So yeah, let's think about, let's stack different realities. So this would be an ear, and now we can stack jokes. How does it work? So how do we stack jokes from a first step? Okay, we have this first step. This is an ear. We want to explore now. We want to stack up. We have a couple tools we can use for that. The first one is to go in the direction of trying to see how this change could make sense, but in a way that actually doesn't. This one is huge. It means that it's a meta change here again. It looks like you're trying to connect the realities, but in the way you do it, it actually it doesn't go as expected. We expect it to connect the reality, but in reality it doesn't connect them because it creates even more changes. For example, if I say that this is an ear, I will try to connect this with the real world. So I have to find an explanation. An explanation would be, for example, someone took a fake ear and sticked it here. Now it makes sense. It can happen. It can be this way in the actual reality. It would connect them, and then make it less funny. Actually, it would connect the realities, and we don't want that. We want to overlap realities and let them be in their own way without trying to connect them and merge them into one reality. Right? But let's try to find an explanation. So this is what we call creative constraint. Instead of going like, okay, let's find something, but I don't know where to start, we can choose to go in some direction, and this helps us to be creative. And this is one of the creative constraints with stacking jokes in humor that everybody uses. This is about saying, okay, there is a change. Okay, let's try to explain, to connect with the reality, but do it in a way that actually instead creates even more difference, which would then make like a meta joke, a meta change. So actually, for example, let's say, oh yeah, this is because this cup has to be able to listen to what we say while we're talking. Right, so this works because it looks like I'm explaining. I'm connecting the realities. So that's when I talked about the fact of saying a joke as if it was not a joke. This is a meta. It creates a meta joke. Here is the same. I'm saying it as if it's supposed to connect the realities, but actually it creates even more difference. What it means that cup, they have they can think, they have a purpose, they can hear. It adds even more difference. So it's like a third level of reality. Actually, it could be implied into the first one. If there is an ear in this reality that comes with it, yeah, it might be imaginable that this is because they can hear and they think. So in itself, it doesn't really create a third reality. What does is the meta joke of going for explaining, for connecting them, but actually not. Actually, it doesn't connect them. So it creates a meta joke, a new meta reality. This is because it has to be able to hear us when we talk. It creates a meta thing. You do as if you're trying to connect the realities, but it does not, actually. It does not connect the realities. It creates even more separation between the realities. It does the opposite. So now we can stack up again now from this. Okay, so now what it means, the new thing that is added is that it has a personality, it has thinking. Now we have access to the tools we talked about, which is personalizing objects, basically so that we can make them look stupid. So let's make it look stupid. This is because it has to be able to hear to what we say when we talk. This cup wants to be more creative, of course. It wants to be more funny. It's getting trouble in this social interaction with the MacBook and the microphone when we're not at home. So now we're adding one more level of stack up things that are not normal. So now we are going within this new reality. Within this new reality, we create this new technique that we have about making psyches look stupid. So this is even one more stack up within the second reality. We have like a sub-reality where we stack up the thing. And then I automatically stacked up with something else. I said with the MacBook and this. Here, the same thing. If he has this problem, he has this, this is the same logic. If he wants to be, if the cup wants to be more social, more creative, more fun, how can we explain that? How can we connect it to actual realities? So we use, again, the same meta, the same trick that we have, which is this meta joke of going for explaining, but in a way that creates even more separation. We actually increase the separation. This is a meta joke. Instead of connecting he wants to be more social. And now instead of just saying with friends, which could be like logical, with the MacBook, then now we make it as well something which is human. So it creates even more separation, whereas it was supposed to connect the realities. It creates even more separation with reality. So this is the meta joke that everybody uses when it is about stacking. This is the same thing as we talked about at the beginning, which was that every time you have a change, you can use the time 2, the 2 times bonus of either keeping everything else as if there was no change, either to make it be as if there was a change, but which doesn't imply the other elements to be exactly in the way they should be in reaction to this first change. So let's be formal about it. Let's see in a formal way how we've been doing this without noticing. So there is the ear, it's because it have to listen to us. Okay, so now we actually did this. There is an ear, and now let's use the time 2 bonus that we have, keeping everything else as if there was no change. So actually this is not the one that we've been using here. Remember when we made the comment about the fact that there is an ear. This was not this one as well, this was the second one, to react as if there is a change, but in a way that actually creates this meta joke, being changed but in a way that is not how it should change. So there has to be a change in accordance, but the change that happens is not the one that was expected. So it's like you think it's going to be reacting as expected, but in fact not. So it's like a meta joke. That's what we've been doing. Then now we use again the time 2 bonus around this first time 2 bonus. And so this is what we've been doing. Now we have the idea that there is an ear. I use the time 2 bonus a first time. I want to use it again now. There is an element that is different than what it's supposed to be like in the actual reality that is in our minds. There is an ear. The other elements of the scene, of reality, if we want to use the 2 time bonus, either we make them keep being as they are, so I don't even react, for example, or either we make them change in accordance as well. But, so for example, change in accordance. Okay, this is why. This is because someone sticked it. So it explains. But no, here we do the change of the other elements, but not in the way that is expected. This is because it has to hear us. He wants to learn. Okay, so this is the 2 times rule. And now here, what are we doing? Now, instead of using again the 2 time rules, which we could do, we are using the other tricks. So basically, it's always the same thing. There is an element in a reality or a set of elements which is different from what the mind expects it to be in the actual reality that is in your mind. Either that's really how it's going on, either you create it as something imaginary that you will talk about in the joke. And remember, the more there is elements in common in this change with what are already going on, the more it will be easy to imagine it, and thus the more it will be easy to draw fun from it. Once that you have this, you will just stack the tools that we have talked about, either the 2 times bonus, again and again and again and again and again. We just use it 2 times, one after the other. And at every step, either you use this one, either you use personalizing and making it look stupid, things that go against the ego, either you use insults, sexual thing, dirty thing, which are not socially weighted for, or either you use yourself making the joke as one more thing that changes from what is expected. And yeah, so you have 3-4 tools like this that at every step you just choose between all of those and you have fun with it. And then at the step that follows, either you use the one you've used before, either another one. And so at each step you have like your 4 or 5 tools, and every stack up, just use one, then the other, then you can use the one again and again, and you stack up, using the tools that you want. So here what we did is we made it look stupid. Yeah, because it wants to learn to be more social with friends at school or whatever. And then here we stack up again by using the 2 time bonus, which is about trying to make it look more like the normal reality or one of the previous reality, which should be like, yeah, when it goes at school and it talks with a friend in the normal school. But now we create more change. Yeah, like the computer. So it's not real people. It's yeah, the computer, right? So this is the 2-time bonus used here. Then we can go even further. We can, for example, again, making it look stupid. So we can say that, yeah, it gets bullied at the school. The MacBook, it comes and it punches him, takes his food, and he eats it with his girlfriend, which is the iPhone, which is extremely hot, and he loves the girlfriend. And this one is crying and he's big, he's getting bullied. And now we can put the insults, like we can think of the MacBook being like insulting the cup in the school with the girlfriend, like, yeah, piece of shit, give me your food. And then we can think of the MacBook having a raw sex with the iPhone in a somewhere in the playground while the cup is crying. Then we can think of the MacBook taking a shit on the cup and giving him a kick and going away and the cup crying, for example. We personalize, we make them look stupid, we use insult, sexual, dirty, the 2-time bonus. And now what we will do is that instead of keeping going with those tricks that we have, those tools, let's go back to the real basic thing of humor, which is not about those tricks, which is about actually creating change in some elements. It should happen. Let's create change in this new reality. Let's create a new joke from the basic way that we do it, not from the tricks that we have, which are just cheat codes. Let's go back to creativity. So now he's crying on the floor alone with some dumb shit on his face. And now let's just imagine that he just stands up and go back to his life normal and nothing happens. Normal. He's crying and yeah, and he just goes back to his life. That would be a way, once again, to create one more stack up, which is fun. And then we can create more fun, like we can try to explain why this change happened. So this is the 2-time rules. So for example, now he goes back to the MacBook like, hey, yeah, brother, what's up? And he starts having fun with him, like everything is normal. So this new stack up was supposed to explain why the cup just came back to walking normal. It's because now, yeah, everything is fine, but actually doesn't make sense. So now this is again the 2-time bonus. If we want to explain this to make a according change with the other elements, for example, the MacBook, he should be angry, like, what the fuck, he doesn't give a shit, what's going on? Yeah, I want to punch him again. So we should explain it this way. We should create the accordance. We should create the other elements to change as well according to this, to make the reality merge back together. But no, we make the 2-time bonus a trick, and so we change the way we explain it. Oh yeah, hey, what's up, brother? So now, once again, there is a change. So this is a trick. And you just stack up, stack up, stack up, stack up. And when you get very good at this, you just spend all your time with your best friends just cracking joke all day, and you can't stop. You stack, you stack, you stack, you stack, you stack. And you just have so much creativity that every time you just joke, you stack, you laugh again and again, because you have mastered all of those tools and this creativity. Okay, well, we didn't make this that funny, but it was a training. Actually, as a training, I think it was good enough. I mean, we didn't start with the easiest thing, but we created something. Well, we created an interesting multiple level universe. So now it will be the time for you to train to do it. So let's create the routine that you will do every day in the morning after the topics of conversation and the captivation. And now you will add this, the fun. Once again, you will have a lot of autonomy. Here is how it's going. You will just start off like with the first module. You just take a scene, maybe imaginary or maybe around you or maybe abstract. I don't give a shit. Be creative. Be as creative as you can. And every time you do the exercise, try to do new things. Be as creative as you can. And this is for you. You're not doing it for now. You're doing it for in 1 month, in 6 months, when you will be a beast. So be creative. This is a training. You don't need to actually be funny during the training. So first step, think about a scene in your head, something going on or around you. Never mind. For example, what I did with the curb, or it doesn't matter. So you have a scene. Inside this scene, take something, may it be abstract or no matter what. I don't care. So take or consider something that you will play with. Okay. 2. Consider this thing as a set of elements. Set of elements. Okay? And within this set of elements, change one of the elements, or multiple, never mind, one of the elements or multiple elements. Can even be the entire set of elements that you change with another. You just have to be creative. You take, for example, I don't know, take my shirt. This is the set of elements. I want to change multiple elements inside. So let's take, for example, the color. This is gray. Color gray, okay, and the thing it's made of. Okay, so now either you change the other things, so you just keep this and you change everything else. So for example, it makes me think of you know, the things to clean out the glasses. It looks similar. This is gray and the kind of same way that is made of, the same matter. Or either you change the things that you picked up. Instead of keeping them and changing what's around, you change those and you keep what's around. So for example, it will still be a shirt, just it will be a different color, so red, and different matter. So for example, it would be wood. So I will have a shirt of red wood. Okay, I change this. What if the reality actually is like this? There is a change. So you make the change. Now that you have your change, this is first step. 3. Yeah, complicated, but worth it. It will build in your brain some skills that nobody have really, that nobody builds in a formal way. Yeah, so now that you have your change, you will basically apply one of the tricks. Either you stay creative and you create new changes, but this is the hardest level. Either you will just train to apply any of the tools that we have seen. So either the 2-time bonus, either personalizing, or if there is already something personalized, making it look stupid, that goes against the ego. For example, you could picture me being like, oh, like being stuck in the wood thing, you know, like this, for example, being stuck, like I can't move, I'm like, ah, fuck, help me, and looking completely stupid, and then you can stack up again upon it. Or you can for example stack up with the jokes. So for example, you can think of me being angry, like, yeah, shut the fuck up, get me out, and yelling at other people, asking them to come help me, and people being panicked, so what's going on? You can think of this kind of thing, for example. Basically, just be creative. And remember about infinite creativity. No matter how bad it looks, there is always a way to make it funny. And basically just use the tool that we have seen and it will be funny at some point. So you use any of those tools and yeah, just stack up. Stack up again and again and again. Either new changes, either by cheating, which means using the tricks that we have seen, and just practice them. Practice, stack up, stack up, stack up, and stack up. Stack up 5 times. Up. 5 times. Yeah, I'm the doctor. I give you the prescription. Yeah, and you stack up 5 times. Then once you've done it, yeah, you've done your routine for the day. You have done your routine for the day. If you want to be very serious, do this whole thing 3 times. So once you finish this, you think about a new scene, make a new change, and the same. If you want to use the tricks, focus a lot on the 2-time bonus, because this is the most powerful of the tricks. The other ones, they can fast become overused. It becomes too much. It's like when you watch some series like Rick and Morty, but some other which are a bit less popular. They are less popular because actually they use this again and again and again, and it becomes repetitive. We need to have more creativity. And I think Rick and Morty is very good at this. Look at Rick and Morty. This is what happens it happens all the time. You know what? Yeah, that's a good idea. Do this. After you have seen this, make a mission for yourself to watch back Rick and Morty at least 1 season. And if you've never watched it, watch it once at least. And notice how this is what happens during the entire episodes. This is what's happening. This is the only thing that's going on again and again and again during the entire series. Yeah, good, perfect. Great, I'm happy with this video. I hope you are as well. I don't think I will ask you to put a video on the Facebook group for this one. Never mind about it. Just do it for yourself, enjoy. And if you do the first module, the second one, and this one as well, for 1 month, in 1 month, you will not recognize yourself, really, and no one is going to recognize yourself. Trust me. So do it, and I'm very glad. I can't wait to see the results you will have, and I hope you will share with everybody on the Facebook group what has happened to you after the month of training. Be serious. Do it every day. Do it every day. Don't miss any day. It's very important, once again, that you don't miss any day. Do the 30 days and don't miss any of those.